Hello again. Been a while. I'll just do a quick update. I want to jump into this as soon as I can. Basically, it's been a couple weeks, but right now I am planning on uploading my DC climb, just like a complete VOD. It's about 6 hours, so it's gonna be maybe this weekend. I still need to complete Master 1, so I'll probably do a deck profile eventually. Hopefully I'll do that before the new pack update on January 10th. So yeah, that's an update. But we just got, even bigger news, I think. This was the expected Forbidden Limited List update after the DC. And, well, honestly, going into this, I've already reacted. Well, I haven't reacted. I've already seen this. So what I want to share is my kind of like filtered thoughts in a way. I've gotten some time to think about it in the past couple hours and just try to condense all that information into, some package, because the thing is, this is good news, basically. Banlist. Anyway, that's a tangent. This update, I was expecting something like really minor, honestly. Well, not really, but I wasn't expecting them to hit as hard as they go. So this is kind of spoilers, but as you can see, the Forbidden list is actually a lot bigger than usual. There's 5 on the list. So we have Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, White Dragon Wyverburster, Card of Demise, and Superheavy Samurai Soulbreaker Armor. So let's get the easiest one out of the way. Soulbreaker Armor. This is this participates in an FTK with Superheavy Samurai. So if you're not aware, Superheavy Samurai is a deck from the anime. I believe it's Arc 5. They kind of pride themselves on not being able to use spells and traps. I think that's the anime character's gimmick. And so they're not in Master Duel yet, but this is a pretty big indication that they're coming. Basically, this participated in an FTK where you equipped it to somebody with one of their synchros with 4,000 defense twice, and then you would just burn for 4,000 2 times, something like that. The FTK wasn't really present in the TCG because immediately when Superheavy Samurai arrived, they got hit a weekend. There's a whole story behind that. You can probably find it if you Google it. People were not happy about it. But yeah, this beats FTK, so we don't know. So Superheavy Samurai as a deck, it's very similar to Adamantipator or Manadium or any of those turn 1 combo decks like Sprite Synchro, if you're familiar with that. Turn 1 combo decks that they kind of vomit their hand on the board and they end on Barone plus Appaloosa plus other stuff. Superheavy Samurai is a lot more flexible, but there are some limitations. They max C's in this format, and it's pretty decent versus Superheavy Samurai. They also cannot play spells and traps, like I mentioned, so they can't play Called By or Cross Out to negate that max C. So it appears right now that Superheavy Samurai is untouched, but we'll have to see the pre-hits, when the pack comes on January 10th to actually fully evaluate Superheavy Samurai. But for sure, this hit is because of Superheavy Samurai. I think that's no, there's no debate on that. So at least the FTK is gone. That's good. It shouldn't be in the game. You're not gonna. They're pretty good at it too. I don't know how proficient they were, but some FTKs, I believe, there's Super Heavy. It's not like a 6 Samurai FTK that can play through at least 1 hand trap. So there's no doubt that Superheavy Samurai, as prolific as a combo deck, it has a lot of starters, non-engine and stuff like that. It could probably squeeze through the FTK if it wanted to. So glad it's gone. So now we're gonna have to face the default, generic end board of negates. So the best strategy against that is prevention, and there are strategies. There's Droll Knockbird, there's Ogre, there's Gamma even. So Superheavy Samurai, I'm not thinking that. My prediction is they're gonna be good, but not that good or as good as there's a lot of factors into this meta. Okay, I thought that was going to be easy, but there's a lot to unpack there. Card Demise, that's a stun hit. We're gone. I'm so glad. It's kind of frustrating that, you can't really hand trap this deck. Sometimes, and you'll get punished. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe you ask something early, maybe like a Runick Fountain or something like that, and then they Card Demise you. Well, that's not really true, because then they would need to special summon with Card Demise on the field to get Fountain on the field. and card demise prevents special summons. Well, anyway, card demise, it's really frustrating because even when you got them, like they can top deck into it and draw 3. It's really disgusting card. Like they make use of it very well. I'm assuming that the alternative to card demise is Time Tearing Morganite. If you're not familiar with that card, it's like it's a card that when you activate it, it grants lingering effect to draw 2 on your draw phase. So it's a -1 at first. They can't use hand traps. You're not allowed to use monster effects in the hand, but you are given 2 normal summons. So it is kind of useful. Stun does play a bunch of normal summons, so they get some use out of it. But at the very least, Morganite, they have to shell out for some URs for Morganite, which is in the pack right now. One of the packs right now in the shop. Yeah, so they need Morganite. But the nice thing about Morganite, it's an initial -1, and it doesn't start to ramp up until you've given them enough draw phases. So Morganite is still annoying, don't get me wrong, but now you have to deal with 4 cards instead of plus a billion after they set everything and then card demise to draw 3. Really, really disgusting card. I really dislike it. You could argue that they should have hit the floodgates instead of this, and that's true. In a world without floodgates, card demise might be a quote-unquote fair card, but for now, it was definitely like really annoying to deal with. Now, these 2 are paired. Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, and White Dragon Wyverburster. Or Chaos Ruler, I think this is interesting because by hitting this, you don't just hit Dragon Link. You hit all these Chaos Punk piles that just rely on Chaos Ruler to kind of just carry them. They'll mill 5, maybe they'll hit a Necrophase, maybe they'll hit a Bestial or a Lubellion, and then they just keep extending from there. So just hitting this, I was surprised, man. I was thinking they were like, for Dragon Link, they're going to hit something from a structure deck. Like, I don't know, the Dragon Main structure deck. Oh, they're going to ban Seals, which isn't, which is still pretty impactful. But Chaos Ruler is huge. This isn't just a Dragon Link kick. This is the pile. Like one of the annoying decks on ladder is Sprite Synchro, where they use Chaos Ruler. They use a Sprite, they use Ringo Worm and a Bestial and stuff like that, and they just make Chaos Ruler, and it kind of unlocks the rest of the deck. It starts to like really snowball with Chaos Ruler, and that's kind of annoying. The card itself, it's not a negate or anything, but it does force hand traps or something like that, because they might have so much more gas after this thing resolves. It mills 5s, adds a light or dark to your hand, and it can also potentially trigger grave effects. So tier elements probably do not appreciate this getting banned. So White Dragon Wyverburster, this is interesting because I believe this is a structure deck hit. In fact, it's an SR. That's another reason why I was flabbergasted at the Chaos Ruler ban. It's 90 UR if you have 3 of these, but maybe they're okay with banning it because they assume people have only 1, right? They'll dismantle the second copy, which is valid. Anyway, White Dragon Wyverburster. So this hits a lot, actually. It's paired with Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. Wyverburster, when it's, you can banish 1 dark monster, it'll summon itself, and when it's sent to the grave, you can add a Collapse Serpent to hand, which has kind of a similar effect, except it banishes a light, and then it adds another Wyverburster. You can only special summon 1 of each for that turn, but they're strong. They're level 4 lower dragons, which is really, really huge for Striker Dragon and what's called Pisty. These are your main ways of setting up Pisty, especially if you go into Seals. You'll put a Pisty underneath the Seals, and these are your main ways of extending. It made Chaos Space really, really good because the Wyverburster plus Collapse Serpent, that was like that pretty much sets up your Striker, Romulus, Boot Sector Summon, Tracer line into Chaos Ruler. So this makes the remaining 2 copies of Chaos Space worse, because the only other targets for Chaos Space were Levianeer, which is a dark, and Lubellion. But if you're searching Lubellion, that's -1 to go into a Bestial. Like, yeah, Lubellion, you'll discard a dark with Chaos Space. You, what's called? Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, you discard a dark with Chaos Space, and you're going to search Lubellion. That doesn't seem that great, because Lubellion is just going to search a Bestial. And yeah, you can summon the Bestial and then go into Lubellion, but I don't know. I think most of the time you're going to summon one of these dragons, Wyverburster and Collapse Serpent, and since they're so intrinsically tied together, it makes Chaos Space so much worse. I think yeah, you hit so much with this. Even Chaos, well, not that it's possible with this band. Even Chaos Ruler hitting one of these dragons was so strong. I cannot imagine. This is a Starliege Safer Dragon. That's a level 4 light dragon that they use. It's where they would send Starliege or discard like a level 4 dragon in their hand to search this guy, or the other. Well, they would search Collapse Serpent, but then Collapse Serpent searches Wyverburster. So why are you going to search Collapse Serpent anymore if you don't even have this guy? So Safer, Chaos Space, the hard drawing these as well. That's a lot of starters. Like, I think the only starter I can think of that they can use is Black Metal Dragon. You know, you can go Black Metal Dragon. That's a good level 4 lower dragon, but it uses your normal summon. It does play through Droll though. And it's so you would search Red Eyes Metal Dragon, revive Black Metal Dragon from the grave with Red Eyes, and then search Meteor. So yeah, only Black Metal Dragon seems to be the best starter. You can do that. You can you can play in Dragon Link. This is crazy. I'm not saying Dragon Link is dead, but you're gonna lean more heavily towards Bestial and Seal's Pass or something like that. You can't like extend immediately into Borland as often as you could before. So very, very impactful Forbidden list. You know, thinking about Mathmech, right? This deck would prey on Mathmech. It wasn't just the Bestial. The D-Link engine is just so much better. You know, you get outpaced by Branded Regain. You know, Borland is a tough nut to crack. You know, you have to spend a lot of resources. It's possible if you have enough gas, but you know, if it was just Bestial control, I think I'm fine. I'm chilling, man. I don't mind if, you know, I just feel the other thing about this extender is like it was so much harder to hand trap this deck, but now because this plays through hand trap so well, because it gives you so many advantage as you cycle through them. But at this point, you know, I'm not too afraid of D-Link anymore. I'm not saying it's gonna fall off, but I think this is enough to discourage people from playing the deck. Like, this is crazy. So as far as Mathmech is concerned, one of its biggest competitors is Dragon Link. The other is Branded, but we don't see any Branded hits here. So you know, that's you know, we'll move on. Okay, so that's a lot about the Forbidden. Oh, okay, we'll just go stick to the limit. You know, let's just put them face up. Okay. So Kashtira Fenrir, Inspector. So limited cards. You're only allowed one copy. As stated here. Let's see. Kashtira Fenrir, Inspector Border. There can be only one. Runick Destruction, Pot of Desires, Kaiser Colosseum, Kashtira Birth, Pot of Duality, Purely Delicious Memories, Synchro Zone. So the majority of these are stun hits. Inspector Border. I hate this card. It's cringe. I mean, there's counterplay involved, right? If you can make a link 1, you're allowed at least one effect under Inspector Border. So that's not bad. You know, that's nice. What I hate about it is they normal summon this and you can't hand trap them. They'll just demise freely. It's so lame. Like, they'll demise freely. They can activate their pots, or you know, it just insulates them from like counterplay. That's what I dislike about it. You're forced to imperm this, but like at the same time, you'd have to hold the imperm on your turn if you actually want to play. If it actually did not prevent all monster effects in hand or something like that, I'd be less upset. I know it's at 1. It's gonna join Imano Awado as like, you know, that one card they're gonna top deck into. Inspector Border is less offensive than Imano Awado because that thing stops. You know, like you can use Imano Awado going second as opposed to Inspector Border. You know, you're gonna have Xyz, links, maybe some synchros. You're allowed to do some effects. But yeah, I'm surprised this is a UR too. So they just gave these stun players 2 free URs for their Morganite. There can be only one. Annoying card, has overlap with VS Vanquish Soul. So surprisingly, a lot of the Duelist Cup lists do not play There Can Be Only One. That was interesting. We can go over some Duelist Cup lists. I'm not too... I don't really have a plan when it comes to that, but you know, they didn't. The Vanquish Soul list didn't play There Can Be Only One. This does have its place in metas, so you know it's not the end of the world that they don't play it. but it is an option they can always fall back on. So there's a 1 copy of it. Good. You know, I would prefer it to be at 0. You know, it's one of those cards that says you cannot play. You know, and I do play Mathmech. You know, this is literally, you could probably brick and then flip this and you still win versus Mathmech. Card is crazy. Runick Destruction. Limiting a runic spell. Now, I haven't really paid attention to how many runic spells are available, but if you're under 15 or 18 or something like that, that's not very good for the runic deck. This actually hurts like you know, these runic combo decks that don't rely on stun. And you know, this is a pretty good card. You know, it still simplifies the board for stun. It makes it easier for you to play through layered interruption. So this is pretty significant. A Pot of Desires, a limited pot. That's pretty crazy. Probably one of the... I actually consider this to be Pot of Greed. It has limitations. You know, you don't want to banish everything. But the cases where you do banish stuff are actually a lot less than people make it out to be. So for the decks that can run it, this is really broken. That, you know, this could be overlap with a Vanquish Soul hit. This could be Flumonderies if you want to make it like that. Also, but it can also be a stun hit. Kaiser Colosseum, Floodgate. That stun would employ. Really crazy card. I'm surprised this is banned in the TCG. But in that case, one of the reasons supplied for the TCG is that judges hated the rulings for Kaiser Colosseum. So it wasn't like they would have so many judge calls, it would delay rounds and stuff like that. You know, it's kind of a tough. It's an old card that hasn't gotten like an update in the text, so it's kind of hard to kind of parse. So I understand there's ruling issues, but anyway, even in that case, that's not the case for Master Duel because, you know, you kind of have the perfect judge as far as the automated system goes. It's got some bugs, but for the most part, it's 99% accurate. Kaiser Colosseum, not. I'm glad it's so bad going second, but you know, going first, it's so annoying now. I would prefer this to be at 0, but it's at 1. You know, can't complain. It's in the proper direction. Kashtira Birth. I don't know how I feel about this one. This might be like Kashtira might be a sleeper. It's still a decent deck. It'll break, but this makes it worse. Kashtira Birth is how you have follow up after your board is broken, or when someone puts a monster on your board. This is how you play through it. Yeah, it's, you know, yeah, it's definitely how you play through hand traps as well. I'm surprised. Maybe they don't want to take chances, you know, after hitting all these decks. They don't want to be like, oh yeah, Kashtira, fall back. But if you do play Kashtira as an engine, Kashtira Birth is still available. So, not the end of the world. Pot of Duality. Also stun. Could also be flu. But, fuck stun. Alright, Purrely Delicious Memory. So now it's limited. I believe it went from semi-limited to limited. This is decreasing. You know, we'll get to that later. This is decreasing... you know, the amount of Purrely spells. It gets significant. I think we're down to 13 now if we include the semi-limited Purrely Pretty Memory. Sorry for going ahead. But 13 out of 40 cards to open, usually you'll need on average 2 to open. You know, to play through hand traps effectively and stuff like that. Now it's just above 50%. You can bump it up higher to open 2 with Prosperity and stuff like that, but you only have 1 copy of Prosperity. It is significant. It's probably going to be around like 58% to open at least 2. Yeah, this is pretty big. Yeah, you have a 33% chance of opening this with what's called My Friend Purrely. You know, when you reveal 3 and you choose one at random, your opponent chooses one at random. Synchro Zone, another stun hit. This is an annoying card. People have said like, why did people switch to this and Messenger of Peace is available? This is 10 times better than Messenger of Peace. The reason why, it's a trap, which is unintuitive. You know, most of us are conditioned to say traps are bad. What makes this thing really annoying or heinous, as I would say, this card being a trap is hidden information. So you can go through a line that like plays through, I don't know, TC Boo or goes in or something like that, and you just int to Synchro Zone. You know, especially like the best cards against Synchro Zone, and you know, are like, you know, Final Sigma if you play it. What's called? Let's see, Barone or Chaos Angel or something like that. If you they don't have to reveal this until your battle phase. And then as soon as you commit to your battle phase, you wasted a whole turn. And they get a turn to replenish their resources. You know, that's a chance for them to demise. Runick Fountain for 3. It's really, really annoying. Messenger of Peace is very, you know, they slap it on the board. You know what they're cooking with. With Synchro Zone, you can go into a line that ints into Synchro Zone, and it's just sad. Yeah, it's a really, really powerful card. I mean, you know, you could say it's unnecessary, but, you know, I think currently these hits, you know, to combine are pretty significant. I think Sun's going to be around. You know, maybe they'll play 3 copies of the organism trap that prevents like Kashtira, you know, level 6 or higher monsters from activating their effects. Special summon monsters, by the way. Special summon monsters from activating their effects or declaring an attack. Maybe they'll play that instead, but, you know, that has limited. You know, it doesn't affect Mathmech at all. It's pretty useless. If they start playing Rivalry, that also doesn't affect Mathmech. So Synchro Zone, good riddance. It's a rare. They probably had no problem. Kind of interesting. This was a card used for evil. It was meant to synchro summon, used for synchro decks to synchro summon on your opponent's turn. But the first line is what people care about. You cannot declare attacks except for synchro monsters. So really, yeah, it's a surprisingly frustrating card. Kashtira Fenrir. That's a Vanquish Soul hit. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It was already semi-limited on release, so it looked like they were planning. That was the trend to limit it, and then maybe they might ban it, like in the OCG. OCG Kashtira Fenrir is banned, and you know that's the meat of the Kashtira engine, and it stops people from like splashing it. Yeah, Fenrir. I'm not really into what's called arguments about this was the problem. You know, why was the problem? You know, because it gets gets very circular. You know. A lot of people believe one thing, you know, but they both amplify each other. And if you get rid of one, then you don't really care about the other. Anyway, so with Kashtira Fenrir, I think I'm not really going to say this was a problem or anything, but this does have significant impact because for Vanquish Soul, now you only have 2 copies of this card. Searching itself was very significant. I didn't really care about it in other decks, but in Vanquish Soul, it could search an Earth or a Fire. And now it only has the option to search a Fire, which is still good. But Rise Heart doesn't do too much. It can still be used for rank 4s. But, you know, having an Earth on demand is really strong, especially because the Earths you play in Vanquish Soul, Max C, you kind of consume. The only other Earths are Caesar Valius and the level 4 Pantera, which, you know, if you use one of the Caesar Valiuses to summon on the field and you still need another Earth. So it's kind of, you know, this being able to search another Earth was strong. So now it's just what I'm kind of interested in. Maybe they ban this card and bring back the Kashtira field spell to 3. Right now it's limited. Both of these are limited. So this is still kind of oppressive. I'm not saying Fenrir should be banned. I'm not a huge, you know, but it is an annoying interruption. I think if you ever seen my replays, I have to spend my imperm on a Fenrir. Like, there's no reason to what's called, you know, it's like a very powerful card. I'm sad to see it gone, but you know, it is what it is. So cards to be semi-limited. Purely Pretty Memory. Not guaranteeing beauty is kind of crazy. I think this is strong. I think a strong hit. Like I mentioned, it's about, I think they're now down from 16 spells in deck to 13. So this contributes to that. And you know, this is a rare, so they have no problem semi-limiting it. It's strong. I think how do I feel about Purely? I could be wrong, but it seems like, you know, they're, you know, less cracked than they were on release. They were unhit, and they're due for more support in the future. So that would be the Purely Noir, which searches the trap from deck. It pretty much tutors it immediately. I mean, it's you can still, there's still counterplay. Like if you imperm that, it's really strong. But yeah, I think you know, in combination, this seems like it'll have ripple effects. You know, they already have Purely at 2. So, you know, yeah, let's see if they still play Ghost Trick. It might not be the case. Redox. So that's semi-limited, you know, just a short thing. Now for the unlimited, you know, these are always interesting. You know, you get more tools to play with, you know. It kind of breathes more life into existing decks that people didn't look at. So here we have Redox Dragon Ruler Boulders, Tidal Dragon Ruler of Waterfalls, Tempest Dragon Ruler of Storms, Speedroid Terrortop, Predaplant, Ophrys Scorpio, and Swordsoul Strategist Longyuan. Longyuan, We got him back. He's back at 3. Swordsoul players rejoice. Unfortunately, we had to give up a pot of desires, but you know, as they say, a soul for a Swordsoul. What's called? Yeah, pretty happy he's back. Now they can open Longyuan more often. Kind of interesting. Swordsoul's not doing too much, so I'm not too upset. The 3 dragon rulers. That's crazy. I played when these were at 3. I mean, I wasn't very good at that time. It was around like, I don't know, 2012 or something like that, 2013. I don't know. It was a long time ago. But I remember when I was pulling Lord Attacking on Galaxy for these guys, because these are rares and short printed. Barely pulled shit. But what's called? Yeah, these cards are crazy. But you know, their strength came from at that time. Like they didn't even make a crazy turn 1 board. They made fucking Dracosac pass, and it was just Dracosac had a lot of protection. You know, you had to use like 2 dark holes or 2 right. You know, it was really hard to remove. Like what made them so strong is like they had the best grind game possible. And you know, nowadays, you know, grind game is still good, but you still need a good turn 1 board now, you know, so you can survive till the following turn. So they have Tomahawk. These you know, people will probably try them in Dragon Link, but Dragon Link's more of a dark and light deck. These are level 7, so they're more likely to fit more into Tomahawk decks. You know, summon a bunch of tokens and then link summon, go into Rorodon or something like that, and then, you know, make a synchro board. You know, and then, you know, you'll have these guys in the graveyard, you know, to back up your follow-up after that board is outed, which is, you know, pretty respectable strategy. I can expect to see this. May play Nibiru. I might still be playing Nibiru because of this. Speedroid Terrortop, these 2, oh my god, they're front and center pile deck starters. Speedroid Terrortop is a rank 3 enabler. It's a card that special summons itself, and then you add a level 3 Talkatomborg, and then that special summons itself, so you make it rank 3 without using your normal summon. So that's pretty significant. So that could be Cherubini. So for those Phantom Knight enjoyers, that could be honestly, I don't know, this is just me memeing, but it's possible that Purrely uses Speedroid Terrortop to make Ghost Trick Alucard and then summon Ghost Trick Angel of Mischief on top. That's kind of funny. Maybe. But we'll see. You know, at worst you get a discard, I guess. But anyway, the point is, it's kind of similar to Fenrir, where it doesn't use your normal summon, it tutors other things, and but this accesses rank 3s, which can in the future, you know, like what's called, you know, they can be going, it's like both going second card and going first card. So, you know, right now Invoker is legal, so you can summon a Zodiac from the deck, which is also, you know, in the shop, you know. So this seems like they're pushing Invoker plus Zodiac combos. But yeah, this will see a lot. Maybe this can slot in a bunch of fun decks, I would say. Ophrys Scorpio, I don't know, man. This searches a fusion, basically. It's you summon what's called what's the card called? Darlingtonia Cobra, I believe, and then that searches any fusion. So this tutors Predaplant from deck by sending a monster, and you know, this is also a rank 3 engine, believe it or not. So yeah, this will be interesting. We'll probably see some pile decks, but I don't think they're gonna dominate. But you know, I'm open to being wrong. A lot of interesting stuff to play with here. I think they favor a lot of those combo decks though. So what do we expect? What can we deduce from all these changes? So I have a feeling Dragon Link is probably not gonna see much play after. You know, it got a lot of traction in the Duelist Cup. You know, it was a very good choice for that. Ryan Yu laddered with both Zoo and Dragon Link, and you know, they did pretty well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're seeing Dragon Link. Branded did not get hit. Vanquish got hit a bit, you know, but you know, their core engine is still there. I mean, they're in the shop. They're probably not going to hit the core engine for like a couple months after. I think Mathmech probably has a say in this meta. It's probably not going to dominate like in previous metas. It was like very widespread. I think people are going to be, you know, switching to Super Heavy Samurai or something like that. I have my thoughts about Super Heavy Samurai. It might be bait, but I don't have complete information. I want to see the pre-hits when the pack drops. But Super Heavy Samurai might not be the best investment. You know, it might actually be Vanadium, but do not take my word for it. I'm just working on imperfect information, but you know, there's a lot of risk. I think before Kashtira dropped, I don't think you would have had people say that Kashtira was gonna suck until people tried it out. So don't take my word for it. I would say, but there's a good chance. It's possible that they nerf Super Heavy Samurai. That it's what's called not going to be as oppressive as people would have made it out to be. Because the same was said about Kashtira, and Kashtira, it was still annoying. When a Rise Heart came around, and it's still an annoying deck you had to prepare for, but like the meta wasn't favorable for it. And now Kashtira's got hit more. So Super Heavy Samurai, I will say that like the current things that count against Super Heavy Samurai are Gamma at 2, which is what lets it play through Maxi, Droll, or because they start their combo by activate. They can search before committing to a monster, so Gamma's pretty strong. And then Gamma will convert to Assault Dragon into Barone, and then now they're even more insulated. So it's very risky to hand trap Super Heavy Samurai before they commit to a monster, because you don't want to lose to Gamma. But Gamma's at 2, so maybe you just don't play it around it. Kind of interesting. Dragon Link was also a Gamma player, and Chaos Ruler was the biggest payoff for Gamma on their turn. And so now we traded one Gamma deck for this Gamma deck. So I would say Gamma counts against it. Block Dragon ban also counts against Super Heavy Samurai, because that was used in China for like a lot of Vernisylph Earth machine piles. So Block Dragon was huge in those. So to explain the Super Heavy Samurai deck, it's a combo deck, right? But it can also slot in as a rank 4 engine. You can make a rank 4 engine without using your normal summon. Maybe I'll go into detail in the future, but it's think of it as their engine. Think of it as a Terrortop. They can either make like a Synchro before their normal summon, or a rank 4. And so in those Earth piles, it would make Gallant Granite and then search out the Block Dragon. And then from there, they would just pop off. I believe it had Adamantipator as well, but Block Dragon's banned, so we don't have to worry about that. We're probably going to be facing like generic. Actually, Super Heavy Samurai is probably going to be Vanquish Soul support in the future too, because we don't have it yet, but there's a rank 4 that searches Fire Warriors called Battling Boxer Dempsey. So we don't know when that's coming, but it's on the horizon. Dempsey will search Rosin for Vanquish Soul, and that's kind of a good deal. A rank 4 without your normal summon, and you search the best fire card in your deck. So yeah, Super Heavy Samurai will probably stick around. I don't think they're gonna get pre-hit it that hard. But at the same time, I don't think it's gonna be like the best deck, or like tier 0. But I could be wrong. To be sure, I'll have to look at the pre-hits. So yeah, no block, 2 Gamma, and Maxi. Maxi is the third thing that counts against them, only because he cannot play Called By or Cross Out. A deck that can do that, the very similar combo deck is Vanadium. And Vanadium is rumored, the second wave of Vanadium cards is rumored to be in this pack, in the what's called the January 10th pack that's gonna be released after the maintenance on January 9th. Gonna be interesting. I think I can't really think of anything else. I'll be honest, I don't know. I'm not that familiar with Vanadium, but it just seems like they're a good board breaking deck. One of their strongest cards to me is Vicious Astrolaud. It's a fusion that they can summon by banishing Beast of Starfrost and a 1500-2100 monster, I believe. But this is not a fusion summon. It's literally just banishing from the field or graveyard, but mostly the graveyard. And he just summoned this 3000 attack monster that destroys a monster and then gains their attack. So, and it's not that this pop and gain attack is not once per turn. So theoretically, I'd have to look into it, but they can summon more than one Vicious Astrolaud to break a board and swing. So your board's empty. So it's kind of crazy. What's called? I would be on the lookout for Vanadium. I would not sleep on it. It actually did pretty well in the DC Duelist Cup. I believe it was Quanto Think that piloted it, and I believe he got like 26th place with it. He played no Maxi as a meme, but that's that's just a meme. Don't take that too seriously. But yeah, don't sleep on Vanadium. I would say just keep an eye out. I did a lot of talking about not Mathmech, because, you know, for Mathmech, well, what does this imply for Mathmech? Droll's very good against Vanadium. Droll's very good against Dragonlink. Droll's very good against Super Heavy Samurai. I'll probably talk about how to hand trap them in the future, but these, you know, Droll is probably going to be very good. Ogre is also good against Super Heavy Samurai, but you have to be careful. If you Ogre their Wakaushi, that's their main starter card that they activate as a pendulum scale. You do risk hitting Gamma, but Ogre does solo. I've heard it described as a 1v5. So Droll 1v5s, Ogre 1v5s, their deck. Nibiru is also probably going to be pretty good. But with Nibiru, you're going to have to max out on effect negation hand traps. So that's going to be Mourner, that's going to be Imperm, that's going to be Veiler. I would prioritize Imperm first, but yeah, these are just seeds I'm planting. They may not sprout or bloom, but yeah. This is just my thoughts. I was hoping for this to be quick, but you know, I had a lot to say, and you know, there hasn't been much uploads on this channel for quite a while. So let's just chew on this for a bit, and then in the future, once I get the Master 1 ban list, the Master 1 climb for season 24 done, and you know, that deck list and stuff like that out of the way, we can start talking about the next format. Yeah, I think that's all I have. All right. Have a good one, and thanks for watching.